tonight.
Yeah.
He played Coram Deo Flower Mound last night.
Where?
Coram Deo, they played the Flower Mound School. They won 8
Turn me on. Turn me on.
Deo did?
Get started.
No, Raised by Faith did. And because Coram Deo is all freshmen. And they played them away game at the Capel Middle School because they don't have a stadium. And they beat them 7-0. So tonight, I don't know who they're playing. I'm like, well, maybe y'all will.
Maybe go to that.
Yeah. Well, my husband's
Good evening.
I got out of basketball practice and soccer games.
I'll let everybody.
I love the shirt.
All right, we're late.
I love that shirt. Yes. I'm not going to doubt it.
Thanks for being here. Hey. When you brought me a hamburger.
I love it.
Oh, yay. Then I'm just licking.
Good.
That's what family's for.
Kids healthy again. Keller had flu and strep
How are you
last
doing?
week.
Oh, boy.
Doing well. How are you?
What you said, 8, right?
Everybody, we have water and cookies in the back.
Malaria. We're run through
I don't think you're on
last
yet.
week, so this
No.
is we're good. We've been cleared.
Over.
Are we good? Can you hear me? Are we good, Andrew? Thank you. Okay. Good evening and welcome. Thank you. I am Charlotte Wilcox, and I have the honor of being your mayor. And I'm going to move you to the back row.
I demand it.
So,
Be able to talk.
So on
That's what it's
behalf
about,
of the City
right?
Council and myself, we want to welcome you. We want to thank you. We appreciate your time. We appreciate your engagement, and we really appreciate you being here. I know that I had several people say, okay, what's the issue? There is no issue. It's just we want to bring everybody together and give an opportunity to ask questions if you have any questions. Tonight, you're going to hear from our department heads, and they're going to tell you a little bit about each department. But before that starts, I'd like to introduce our city manager, Paul Stevens, and our city secretary, Angie Miller. And so during the presentations, because I want to be able to get through all of them, we'll have an opportunity to ask during that one department head's presentation a couple of questions, but we're going to keep moving so that we get through all of them. At the end, we're going to have just open mic. Some of you want to sing, karaoke. David?
Stand up. Let's do stand up.
And we can do whatever. But anyway, I do want to get through all of the presentations, and that's why we're going to get started now and get moving. So a little bit about myself, and it's going to be very little, and then I'm going to give each council member an opportunity to introduce themselves. I have been married to my husband, Terry Wilcox, who is here tonight. Everybody. Yay! Mr. Green Jeans came out for this. So we, for 45 years, and we actually moved to Highland Village 30 years ago this month. So yeah, we've been here for a long time. I have 2 amazing children and 2 beautiful granddaughters that now live in Colorado. So they're not even, but we raised them in Highland Village. They lived in Highland Village till they moved. So that's me. In a nutshell, pretty much. So I'm going to let council introduce themselves. So we'll start with Councilman Hurst.
No pressure.
My name's Rhonda Hurst. I've been married to my husband for 25 years. I've got 2 boys, 12 and one just turned 15 on Friday. They are busy at soccer. We have varsity soccer tonight and basketball practice, so that's why they're not here. My parents moved here when I was very little in 1977, and I have been a part of the community since then. I live down the street from my parents, and I love raising my kids here in our neighborhood, and we have the cul-de-sac kids that everybody plays, and so that's about me.
Well, I'm Brian Fiorenza. I have been a resident with my family for 31 years this year as well. We moved in Highland Village in '94. We raised 2 boys here, went through local schools. They graduated, they're off, thank you, on their own. I have 1 grandchild that I love and adore, and he gets to see me 3 or 4 times a week, so that's a lot of fun. And yeah, that's it. I'm a local businessman here in town. Love my community, love the people in it, and I'm glad to be a part of it.
Thank you, sir.
Robert Feaster. I've lived in Highland Village since 2014. My wife and I are going on our 20th anniversary this year, God willing. I have 2 boys, 16 and 14. They've grown up in the LISD program, so we got a couple more years with them, hopefully, and they'll fly the coop, hopefully. So Well, everything's qualified with a hopefully, but so yeah, I've been on council since 2018. It might come as a surprise to some of you. I'm the quiet one on the council, but obviously our family loves Highland Village, and we plan to stay as long as we can afford the taxes, Mayor.
John?
I'm John Kicksmiller. My wife Deb and I, we've been married for 50 years.
Hey, congratulations.
We moved here in 1986 with our two kids, Ben and Elizabeth. I went away a little bit for work and then came back 12 years ago. Okay, and this is where we're staying, so we built a house, and then fortunately our son built a house next door, so we now have two grandchildren next door, so there's 3 generations settled into Highland Village, and that's what we love to see, and we love to see in our city. More and more of our kids are coming back. I've had the good fortune of serving on the council for 7 years. Robert and I were elected the same year. This is our last year, unfortunately, but maybe for some of you it's fortunate, but next year there'll be 2 opens. Okay, so if you're thinking about getting involved, next year would be a good opportunity, because it's been a privilege to serve for the last 7 years.
Hello, my name is Sean Nelson. I've been on City Council since 2022. Moved down to Flower Mound in 1988, graduated Marcus in 1990. I've been married to my beautiful wife, Brooklyn, for 25 years. We've been residents of Highland Village for 16 years. We have a son who's in college. He's also a certified pilot. From a career perspective, I'm a director at a global consulting firm, and I specialize in data science and advanced analytics.
And as you can see, I work with an incredible city council and an incredible city. We are going to get started. I don't know who's first. I'm first. Oh, you're first. Oh, okay. I think we're ready.
We're always ready for you, Paul.
Always ready, of course. Well, Mayor and Council, thank you all, and thank you all for being here tonight. The mayor said there were no issues. The only issue is I'm going first, so I hope I pressed the button the right way.
This one works better than the one in the other room, so.
Definitely does. So first off, I do want to mention this is going to be a little bit like speed dating. We've got a lot of departments to cover. We'll go through pretty quickly, but have enough time for questions. And hopefully you'll learn some things tonight, and we'll maybe continue these meetings in the future, get more in depth in some other topics. So just to give you a brief overview of the city manager's office. Some of y'all, I'm sure, know this, but we were incorporated as a city in February of 1963, which means we just had a birthday a while back. When Mayor Jaworski was in office, we celebrated that birthday. Highland Village became a home rule city in 1986. And a home rule city, generally when a city gets to a population of 5,000 or more, they can vote and adopt their own charter. So that's what happened at that point. Our current population, according to the Texas Demographics Center, is 16,142. We encapsulate 6.4 square miles. I'm going to look at Sunny and make sure I said the right one. Depends on how much water's in the lake, right? Yeah, but 6.4 square miles. We have a AAA bond rating with Standard & Poor's, which that is the highest financial rating you can get for your bonds. So we're very proud of that. And we have 160 full-time employees. So again, we are a home rule city. We operate under a council manager form of government. In accordance to the city charter, the council enacts legislation, adopts the annual operating budget, and is responsible for setting policy. The city manager oversees the day-to-day operations of the city and implements policy set forth by the council. So that's how that works. We do have a mission statement and goals with our city, and we really follow these during our budget process. We even follow these with our employee reviews. We make sure that we're all living up to these statements and these standards. So the mission statement and values right here is we are committed to promoting a spirit of integrity, partnership, and excellence of service for the benefit of the citizens, guests, and neighboring communities to ensure that Highland Village continues to be a vital and dynamic city with a vision for the future. And these are our values here: integrity, service, teamwork, responsiveness, communication, accountable, and enterprising. And I know you can't see this very well. This is an organizational chart. Starting there at the top is the citizens of Highland Village. And of course, the citizens elect the city council. The next level, that third level, are the appointments that the city council makes. They appoint the municipal judge, the city secretary, the city attorney, the city manager, and the city secretary. And then below, we have the various departments in the city, and we'll get into all of those here in a little bit. And that's the end of the city manager one. That went quick. Lori Mullins, who is our director of marketing and communications, couldn't be here tonight, so I'm going to cover hers. And the marketing and communications department, they work with all departments to tell the city story to inform residents, businesses, owners, and visitors of city events, major projects, and important news while encouraging community engagement. So a lot of that is kind of the PR aspect of it, but if you all remember last weekend, we did have a police incident in town. As soon as something like that happens, the police chief, the fire chief on Sunday, they've got Lori on the phone to make sure we're getting that information out to the public so we can keep you informed. So in all they do, they seek to communicate facts accurately, clearly, and in a timely manner, reach our target audience where they go to find the information, engage our audience through consistent messaging, encourage an action, response, or acknowledgement. And how do we do that? These are some of the ways that we do it. First is the city website. We have all sorts of things on our website. You can find out about every single department. You name it, it is there. We also have emergency alerts, and those can be sent via text or phone. If you don't get those, you can go online, onto the website, and sign up for those. So we've had a couple of situations lately where we had a traffic accident. If there's a traffic accident and the road's going to be blocked, in fact, a portion of Highland Village Road was blocked, you'll get a text. It'll tell you it's blocked and to avoid that area. So it comes in really handy. We do press releases from time to time when something comes up. We have several different newsletters, the way we communicate. We have the Villager, the City Manager's Report, City Connections. The City Manager's Report, I guess I'll plug that right now. It comes out every 2 weeks. So help my readership, read that. Now, Jeannie is the one who works with all the departments to put that together. But it gives kind of an update of the week's work and what's been going on in the community. We also, social media, we have Facebook, Instagram, and YouTube. We do video public service announcements. We have Experience Highland Village, and we do the State of the City every year. The State of the City is in conjunction with Flower Mound and Louisville as well, which is really a great event when all the cities make those presentations about what's going on. We have ads in local newspapers and magazines. We have event banners, roadside signs, light pole banners, and things like that. Plus, we do postcards and letters from time to time. And there's a QR code right there. We can maybe pull that up later, but if you get a chance, you can snap on that. That'll take you to the website if you want to sign up for any type of information or meeting notices. You can also contact us at info@highlandvillage.org, or there's the main number there, 972-899-5105. Now, as far as marketing communications, they also they have the Highland Village Business Association, which is really the chamber of commerce for the city of Highland Village. And what we really try to do is promote business networking and raise awareness of our local businesses. The website is thehvba.com. We have several lunches and coffees during the year. And those aren't just open to businesses. As residents, if you want to come, please do. Feel free. You can always learn a lot about what's going on in the business community. And we do a lot of business promotion. We have certain videos, social media campaigns that we do from time to time to get the word out. So I covered that really quickly. If that's okay, I'll hand it to the city secretary.
Any questions for about city manager or the marketing and media? Anybody? So you don't have to get up and come to the thing. We're going to bring a mic to you if you do have a question on any of that. Perfect. And I failed to tell you in the beginning that Councilman Cox is under the weather tonight, so that is why he's not here. Lori Mullins not here, and Councilman Cox. These guys tried to say they were not feeling well, but
Nobody wants what's going around.
no, they do not. You're exactly right. We encourage everybody to stay at home. So, okay, if nobody has any questions with that, then we're going to do the city secretary's office.
Okay. So areas of responsibility for the city secretary's office. We provide support services to the city council. We are a department of 3, so we're relatively small. We also conduct municipal elections. So the city elections, we do those. However, state and federal elections, those are conducted by, the county does those. They use our building oftentimes, but those are not handled by us. They just are using our facility to bring that service to our residents. So also process public information requests. So if there's any record or information, a record, not so much a question, but if you have records that you would like to request a copy of, we have a process in place for that where you can do those requests. We also implement the records management program for the city, citywide. We follow the Texas State Library and Archives Commission retention policy. We have groups that work individually with the different departments to maintain those records. So processing claims. We also process claims for the city should there be any damage to like a city vehicle, or if there is an incident where a city vehicle accidentally bumps into your vehicle and a claim has to be filed, that's handled through our department. We also certify the Texas alcohol, TABC alcohol permit packets. So businesses that come into Highland Village, restaurants that come into Highland Village that wish to serve alcohol, there's a packet that they have to fill out and submit to TABC, and the city has to sign off on that to say, yes, that's allowed in that area. So I also work with permitting and inspections on that as well. So we also coordinate the board and commission appointment process. So every year, council appoints representatives to serve you on the different boards and committees that we have. We also, throughout the year, should there be any vacancies, we coordinate and work that with council so that they have the applications in place to review those and appoint people to fill those positions. We also coordinate grant allocations for nonprofit organizations. We do have a policy in place for that, so it is a process. There's certain criteria that has to be met in order to qualify for that, but that's also an annual process that we oversee and provide information to council to make those decisions. We codify the updates to the city's code of ordinances. So anytime city council passes an ordinance, we codify that update. So basically every ordinance, ordinances are kind of like your laws of the city. So they're compiled into one big document that's available online. We also have a hard copy that a few departments have here as well. So I coordinate that to make sure that those updates are made. We do prepare proclamations that are sometimes presented at council meetings. Contact the city secretary's office for that. There's some criteria that has to be met on those, but we do get those prepared for everyone so that those can be presented. We also, of course, prepare and maintain the budget for our department as well as for city council. And then just general office duties as things come up. If you call the main line, our department is the one that typically takes those calls. If it's something we can help you with, we always love to hear from you guys. But if it's something that another department has to handle, we'll get you to the right place. So that's everything.
Thank you. Anybody have any questions? She skimmed over the fact that she keeps council in line. And
Yes. She does a really good job of reminders of where to be and what
Yes.
to do, and most importantly, what to file when. So
she keeps council in line.
yes.
All right.
Hello, everyone. My name is Kimberly Lopez. I'm the HR director. Human resources, super interesting stuff. And this is my team. It's myself, Tara, and Tina. I handle city policy, as benefit administration, leave type items. Tara handles wellness, recruitment, some of our other programmings, performance management, and then Tina keeps us straight, and she handles all our paperwork in the office. Our goal is to manage and support our employees. We want to attract, develop, and train them so they keep on functioning here as great employees. We ensure fair treatment, that we have legal compliance, it's a positive work environment. We foster a culture of integrity, service, and teamwork, as well as innovation, which is the enterprising city value, innovation. And we also provide resources to training and support for our employees. So this is a little small, but we manage total rewards, so our benefits and compensation. Our goal is to be top 25% of our market cities. We try to stay competitive and fair with our market as well. Just like a corporation, we want to be fair as well. Compliance and policy, so we want to stay attuned to federal and state local laws. Risk mitigation, training and communication, compliance with our employees. We manage leave, FMLA, military leave, ADA type leave, accommodations. And then we also develop and encourage great performance with our employees, and we use a software called Lattice, which provides a continuous feedback model to our employees, which is wonderful. They don't just get a review once a year. We have a continuous feedback and goals. Other HR programs is we have a great wellness program. In fact, we have a platinum award through the American Heart Association, which means we have a high level of encouragement and participation in our wellness programming, which is amazing. And we're only one of a few companies or cities that have this. We also have Healthiest You through Teladoc, which provides free mental health and medical for our employees. We've saved over $86,000 in claims data, in claims that don't have to be charged to our health insurance. So we're definitely supportive of a healthy workforce through telemedicine. Recruitment and hiring, we use NeoGov, which is part of Government Jobs, which is a website a lot of people find jobs through as part of our recruitment process. We support job postings and our hiring managers and hiring the right candidates through that process. Our turnover is fairly low, and in fact, we decreased from 10.8 to 9.4 in last fiscal year. So we're doing pretty good. The goal is to be between 9 and 12% is what our goal is. So we're doing really good in turnover. Safety. We don't want our employees injured, of course, but when it does, we do manage that process. The goal is to have zero lost time, which basically means employees are not at home recovering from a serious injury. They are here working and hopefully able to at least work light duty for a little bit until they're back to full duty. So the goal is zero lost time, which means everyone's out. We average typically 0 to 1. On occasion, we'll have 2, but we haven't had 2 in years and years. So pretty good. One of our objectives this year is we're working with fire and police to have a safety day, to do some additional training in safety, AED, first aid, things like that. And we do that every couple of years, and we're going to make it a reoccurring program. Questions?
Awesome. Yes. Moving right along. You know, because High Potential comes on at 9 o'clock tonight.
Was it a new episode?
Oh, it's a new one. Oh, yes.
Okay, so my name is Sunny Lindsay, and I'm the Director of Information Services. I left my tinfoil hat in the office, so I'm going to try and blend in and be normal tonight. So we are a support service. So our main customers are internal customers. So if you think about just about anything that has a processor in it or a plug, we support it. That's everything from the phones to computers to laptops to all the software that's on those devices to the mobile devices that the fire department uses, the police department. Just about any interaction that you have with the city usually has some sort of technology component to it at this point. Because of that, we take our jobs very, very seriously. Everybody in the city, of course, takes their job very seriously, but we do feel the sense of risk and responsibility. And speaking of safety, we are in charge of the cybersecurity training safety that every single employee has to go through, including council, because it is the one click that keeps me up at night. Just kind of a fun graphic of just some of the wide variety of things that we're responsible for. Everything from, of course, the storage and the cameras. We're in charge of cameras as well as, the physical access control. We work closely together with HR with that. Switches. This is another fun fact. We average about 10,000 cyber attacks a month. So yeah, it's. Got it. Like I said, it doesn't make me twitch much, just a little. We do have a fun side. So our fun side is GIS. So that stands for Geographic Information Systems. And what you can do is when you go to the website, we actually have a Maps and Apps portal. And there, if you type in your address, you can find out just about everything you want to know about your location and all of the things around it. So we have whether or not you're in the floodplain, whether or not you are within a 10-minute walk between a park or a trail. We have that app. We also have our capital improvement map up there. So any capital improvement that's going on around your location, you can click on that street, or you can click on that park and see what's going on, as well as all the financials. And we're big into analytics, and we do a lot of business processes and analytics and customizations. We have customized dashboards for our permit department. You can check out all that information is online at our portal. We also do the Santa Route app, which is always a fun one. And then our Eye on Highland Village. So if you have not downloaded the Eye on Highland Village app, that is our report a concern app. So if like you see a pothole, or if you see something broken and you want the city to know about it, you just take a picture, fill out a little bit of information, and that gets emailed to the various departments that that particular concern is addressed to. All right, that's my quick spiel. Anyone have any questions? Oh. Yes, please.
What was Pep Wave?
Oh, Pep Waves are our mobile wireless devices. So in the police department, they are driving mobile wireless devices that would then allow for the computers to be hooked up remotely to internet.
And the Eye on Highland Village, when you submit something, you can do that anonymously. Not that I do that all the time, but you don't have to you can do it anonymously, and it'll just, bless you, and it'll be sent to the appropriate department. It's a wonderful app. So if you don't have it, you need to get it.
And you can get that either or Android or iOS, or you can even do it on your laptop. It doesn't matter the format. Look at it.
Yeah, perfect, thank you.
Thank you very much. Next.
Hello, everyone. How's everyone doing?
Good.
Awesome. And I have a fun job. It is awesome. And, there's usually a comment and a question that I get when I meet new residents. The comment is they love the parks and trails. That's a good thing. But it takes a team in order for that to happen and to produce that. And I have a staff of approximately 24 employees and about 8 part-time folks. The question is my job similar to the show Parks and Recreation? And I say no, it's much more funner, a lot more work, and I'm better looking than Rob Lowe. So anyway, so Parks and Recreation. Thank you, I appreciate that. A department committed to excellence and service to our community and each other, and we really live by that. So fast facts at a glance, we have 19 parks, 320 acres in park use, 16 athletic fields, 2 boat launch areas, 2 docks, 54 campsites, 6 flex fields, 10 miles of city trails, 1 multi-use center with 5 program areas, 1 barn, and 3 party rooms, 1 nature preserve, and continued, 8 pavilions, 8 playgrounds, 7 ponds, approximately 4 miles of shoreline, 1 splash pad, 6 tennis courts, 14 pickleball courts, 1 indoor pickleball court, 11 facilities, 40 restroom stalls, which is important, especially if you're a young mom and you got a baby and you got a 3-year-old hanging on you and they need to stay clean, and 37 pet stations. Thank you, Fred Bushy. and a partridge and a pear tree. So recreation, events, and programming at a glance. Special events, youth sports, adult sports, outdoor fitness programs, water fitness programs, adventure camps, senior programming, our programs, community education programs, marketing, nature programs, and rentals for pavilions, RVs, and facilities. Park maintenance and capital improvement in the 2022 bond, approximately $6.4 million dedicated to renovating and enhance several existing parks. We got new economic initiatives through parks with cabins, boat ramps, improvements, and trails, and refresh of the day use area, Pilot Knoll Park. comprehensive master plan, which provides a strategic roadmap for direction into the future, is Parks and Recreation and Open Space Master Plan and Trails Master Plan. And we're pretty proud of that because those master plans to date have netted about $800,000 in grant money. And then the Village Connection FM 407 trail, which we're working on with Public Works and the city manager. And then this is a statistic that I love putting out there, but work orders completed in a year. This past year is almost 7,000 work orders. So that's pretty awesome. Our folks out there, they make me look good. They do a lot of work and they're awesome, and I do everything I can to support them. And now we're up to Public Works.
Wow.
Yes, sir.
Another fact, how many kids are involved in our student programs, all of them together?
Oh my gosh, do you remember?
Baseball, tennis, soccer.
Do you remember off the top of your head? I want to say close to 4,000 in that program, and approximately 45% of them are Highland Village kids. The rest of them are from the surrounding area, especially like those folks that don't have services, Lantana, Copper Canyon, places like that. And we even get folks from Louisville and Flower Mound that want to come here and have the Highland Village experience. Yes, you in the back first.
Oh, and we have a microphone if we,
Yeah.
oh, you don't need a mic? Just yell, yeah.
My one question for Parks and Rec would be, is there a chance that the dates for the splash pad might get extended this next year? It closes so early and Texas is so hot. Any chance of that might getting expanded a little bit?
Well, that's something definitely we can consider. I'd love to see you at a Parks Board meeting and bring that question up. There's two boards that I have the opportunity to work with, and one of them is Parks and Recreation Board, which that's a viable question. Well, you could come as a, and present the question, and then the Community Development Corporation Board, those two boards. So definitely, we'd be willing to have a conversation about that.
What day on Parks and Rec, though? What day a month do they meet, so people know?
The third Monday of the month.
At 6:30?
At 6:30 here,
Okay.
yes.
So, third Monday of the month, all questions to Phil.
Yeah, and the board. And we also have Park Board members here. Raise your hand. There we go. There's the Park Board chair,
And Phil,
Hogan.
when does the splash pad close? When does it, is there like Labor Day?
yes.
Is that what it's,
Labor
Memorial
Day.
Day to Labor Day?
Yes.
Ah,
Yeah.
good point then.
That is, because it's hot. I mean, maybe it could be like a temperature, an average temperature.
Or we can have an ad hoc
Closure.
Park Board meeting here.
Yeah.
Since anyway,
No,
the
we can't.
council makes the decision at the end of the
It's gonna be 80
day.
this weekend, so we may want to open.
No, it can't. So I think there was a couple more questions. Larry?
I noticed about a week or so ago, the Texas Parks and Wildlife Department approved a $750,000 grant for Highland Village.
Yes, that,
God knows, I was just curious about what, the second time y'all received them, so you already,
no, it's just once.
just one?
Oh, yeah, we only received it
We
once.
need another one next year.
Yeah, well, it's in a phase
Just
program.
curious what's the plan for that funding?
It's going to go towards Pilot Knoll.
Improvements that are identified now?
Yes.
Okay.
Cabins, boat ramp improvements, trails, refreshing the day use area. The large part of the money is going to go on trails, day use area, and the cabins.
Cooler cabins than what Flower Mound has.
Yeah, these are going to be permanent. They're out of the floodplain.
Yeah.
And
Yeah,
I think,
yeah.
yeah,
And it's not going to be clear cutted.
I think there's a question over here, Phil.
Yeah, I have a concern regarding trash in the parks. There is a lot of trash that is brought by the water when rains a lot, and we have the water brings a lot of trash from the lake, and then it stays there. I have been going, collecting, but it's not something I can do by myself. So, there is a lot of trash near the bridge towards the I-55, all along the shores in double T or double T. Yeah, so is there any plan to organize some community event?
Sure.
Or to have some, to address this issue?
So I understand the question correctly. We have trash at Coppers Branch and Doubletree Ranch Park along 35. In those parks, specifically around the water line or the water's edge? Yes, we do. We have a lot of volunteer groups that come in, especially our local churches, that want to help with that. In addition to that, we also supplement that by picking up trash in that area. And it does happen usually after periods of heavy rain. But total transparency, usually after a heavy rain, we're dealing with other things that we have to take care of first, but the crews will be mobilizing to pick up the trash along that area, especially under I-35 where the Doubletree Ranch pond is. And I noticed that's the way I go home, and I saw the trash there today. So yeah, so we're definitely going to be taking care of that here pretty soon. Does that answer your question?
Would that be a way to use our Eye on Highland Village app?
Absolutely. That's another way to do it. If you can, and anyone, you know, that was talked about here earlier, the thing with an Eye on Highland Village, it never goes away. It stays there until there's a response to it. And that's an excellent tool for us and then also for the community. And when we complete a work order, or that's what I call it, it goes back out to the individual who initiated the particular Eye on Highland Village and lets them know that it's completed. Now, it doesn't mean that the dialogue stops. And this has happened, that if it hasn't met the satisfactory level of what was expected by the individual, the dialogue continues and we address it. So it's a great tool. If you're not using it, I would definitely encourage you to use it, because I'm going to be honest with you, you know, we cover a lot of ground and we have great staff, but we can't be everywhere at once. And when the community is involved like that and they let us know, that's a good thing. That's a positive thing. We look at that as, you know, the partnering and working with us to do that. And I also want to say thank you for doing what you do to help keep our parks beautiful and picking up the trash. Thank you very much.
City have programs like keep the dancing beautiful, keep the R&B, Florida beautiful. Why R&B have a program like that?
We have a unique situation here in the fact that you just named off two cities that are really, really big, and they have a lot of resources. And I've worked at cities where they've had Keep Whatever Beautiful. Those boards are really good, but our community is very active. Our volunteer capacity blows them out of the water per capita. We have a tremendous volunteer group, so if there's something that needs to be done, I can reach out, and within a matter of a couple of weeks, and Hogan can speak to this, we can get people mobilized and get them out here to help. In addition to that, we are constantly, and the city manager can speak about this too, we're constantly getting folks from outside of Highland Village that want to come in and volunteer in Highland Village. So we don't have any issues with getting folks to volunteer. What you saw in that particular situation was the aftermath of a rain where all the trash comes down into that area. And we're going to address it and take care of it.
So Phil,
Yes.
With these organizations, where can they find out more information about these organizations and how they can volunteer for these organizations?
I would love if you just sent me an email or contacted our staff, and we would point you in the right direction. And definitely be there to, you know, support and help. Well, organizations just give you, you know, we have a routine organization. It's a local church that comes out, and they volunteer with us once or twice a year. And we provide, you know, they do cleanup work, and we provide, you know, the bags. We provide, you know, the disinfectant that they need, rubber gloves, things like that. And they do a fantastic job. So we have projects, but we really need to quarterback them to understand, you know, where to put the resources and where the areas that need to be addressed. The other thing is, you know, we're talking about one issue here. We have 19 parks that are beautiful and kept immaculate, including the restrooms. We are constantly doing quality assurance checks to make sure that we're maintaining the high standards that the community expects. And our complaints are nil, and our ratings are extremely high as far as satisfaction from the community. And it's because of engagement opportunities like this, Mayor. Thank you for doing this. This helps us a lot as well. But we love hearing from the community. And we just want to get better at what we do. That's our goal. But like at the beginning of the slide, we are focused on excellence in customer service. We really are.
Great.
Was there another question, or is that it?
We'll have them save it till the end.
Okay.
We'll add it to the to the end because, oh, look who we have next.
You have Public Works.
We have Public Works.
I am Scott Kristen. I'm the Director of Public Works. I've been with the city for 29 years.
Wow.
Welcome, fellow residents. Thank you, Mayor, Council, City Manager, staff. Public Works is made up of 5 divisions: Streets and Code, Drainage, Fleet and Facilities, Utilities, Water and Wastewater, and Community Services. Our Streets and Code division runs off of bond packages to rebuild the infrastructure. Right now, we have a 2021 bond with 25 streets, asphalt streets that were named in there, and we split that into 3 projects. The first 2 projects are done. We're preparing to put the 3rd project out to bid, but a waterline project is preceding that. We also submitted 2 projects for Denton County bond in 2022, and anybody that's in Highland Shores or drives down Highland Shores Boulevard is one of those identified to be reconstructed using some of that Denton County bond money. Another piece of Highland Village Road from this intersection to the railroad tracks is the other project we submitted in that Denton County bond issue. We annually have about $230,000 to address some overlay streets, asphalt overlay streets, and about $100,000 a year to address some concrete panel replacements. Code enforcement falls under streets, and I have 1 code officer. Actually, I have 2 code officers. One of them is a field code officer, and they enforce city ordinances. Our most common is tall grass, weeds, junk vehicles, and trash and debris. Our drainage division administers the city's MS4 permit, which is Municipal Separate Storm Sewer System. They make sure all the storm pollution prevention plans are in place, all the BMPs are being used by contractors and city staff. We have, being this close to the lake, we have a pretty heavy collection system that comes through a portion of Flower Mound, comes through a portion of Louisville, and wants to get to the lake as fast as it can. So we have 4 major entry points, which is basically 4 creeks that come in, and then they outfall into the lake. My drainage folks also do the mosquito abatement program. We put traps throughout the city to catch a certain species, female species of a mosquito that can transmit West Nile virus to human. We have been doing that for several years. We're not immune to getting West Nile virus positives in the city. We haven't had a human case in several years. When we do find a positive trap, we take proactive steps to treat the area with fogging. We have about 29 miles of buried storm infrastructure, and that does not count on the open creeks and little drainage ways. A couple of projects that we're working on right now is we're going to dredge Quail Cove Pond, which is over in the Rolling Hills subdivision, and we're going to dredge what we call the Walmart Pond, is the pond behind Walmart. And we'll also have a storm water system plan update that's underway. Moving on, Fleet and Facilities falls under Public Works. Our rolling fleet is what they manage, and we have a contract through Enterprise Fleet Management to provide us with what we call the white fleet. That's basically the Public Works vehicles and the Parks and Recs vehicles. They do provide police vehicles and the fire vehicles, not the big, huge apparatuses, the administrative staff vehicles. The yellow fleet is not managed by an outside source. It's managed internal, and that is our construction equipment, the backhoes, the large pieces of equipment, and the mowers, and so on and so forth. They also take care of 4 main facilities: fire station, this building, and the Public Works and Parks and Rec building, commonly known as the Duval Center. Our utilities department is water and wastewater both. They provide for water production, water distribution, wastewater collections, and we also manage a subscription through the Upper Trinity Regional Water District. Right now, we're working on providing city potable water to the northwest part of the city, which would be Brooks Court, Pilot Knoll Park. However, we have to get across 2499, the Poindexter branch. And that is a picture of it's small, can't see it hardly, but that's the area we're going to serve. And we also have a well that we're going to replace. Our Lake Vista well was constructed in 1968. It's at end of life, so it's time to be replaced, and we're going to, we are working with the North Texas Groundwater Conservation District to get a permit, and then we'll have to go to TCQ to get approval. We're also going to rebuild, replace Lift Station 1, which is our lift station at Doubletree Ranch, and that's currently in design. Our community development folks, they manage community development. They also have the Planning and Zoning Commission to run development through, as well as the Zoning Board of Adjustments, which is if you have a non-self-afflicted issue on your property, and you can take it to the Zoning Board of Adjustments and plead your case. Right now, we have approximately 26 acres of SF12 that's open. It's over there by the off of 407 by the Remax building, if you know where that's at. The Bishop property, which is the northwest portion of the city, is about 34 acres up there. Various commercial lots here and there, about 10 of them, and then some residential lots. There's less than 150 left to develop. Oh, sorry, Doug. With that.
Any questions? Oh, look at the hands. Okay, hang on. We're going to bring a microphone so everybody can hear.
You probably addressed it, and maybe I didn't understand what you were saying, but there's a completion of the road that goes from essentially here where it stops to the other side. Have we got the money to essentially do the similar sort of thing going to the other side to the road that's, you know where I'm talking about? This road that goes out over here basically stops, and there's a lot of renewing that has to be done further on. You may have just mentioned it, so therefore I may be saying something or asking something you already said, but I didn't quite understand that's what you were talking about.
Right. If you're talking about Highland Village Road.
Yeah.
Yep. Yes, we do have it identified to be reconstructed to match this intersection all the way to 35, which we reconstructed, I don't know, 15 years ago.
No, I'm talking about the other one.
Highland Shores Boulevard?
No, Highland Village Road.
Highland Village Road
Highland Village
going
Road
towards the
to-
railroad track.
Right. That's what I'm talking about.
Oh, okay.
We haven't identified. It's about a $2.5 million project. We did submit it for some cost sharing with the Denton County bond package, and it's currently in design.
Okay, thanks.
Okay, and I think there's some questions, yeah, right there.
You good?
Yeah, good. Quick question, Highland Village Elementary, what's going to happen to the building?
That is, we're all asking the exact same question, and that is a question for the school board because we don't own it. We don't own the building, we don't own the land. It's all part of the school, and they told me when I questioned it that they would sell it. That's all I was told.
Is there any truth to, because there's rumors going around about charter schools going in.
I was told,
Buying all 5 buildings.
well, I was told by the trustees that they would not sell to a private school or a charter school. Now, I don't know, that's all I was told. So,
Second question, there's 25 patio homes going in behind the Whataburger eventually.
Right.
Has that been approved, or do you know anything about that?
The only thing that's been approved over there is the zoning. We haven't had a submittal yet, an official submittal, but the zoning is approved.
Okay, thank you.
you're welcome. Was there, okay, right there?
Do you need
the microphone?
Are you good? I'd like to get some explanation on the disinfectant announcement. Water supply.
Yes.
It says you'll be switching from surface water to well water.
Yes, sir.
Is that only during the period of disinfectant, or is it going to be on back to well water?
What that does for us is it combats what we call a nitrification issue that we have in.
All I want is switching over to well water. Is that going to be permanent?
No, just a month.
3 weeks.
So after the disinfectant is done, you'll go back to surface.
Yes. Well, it's a combo, yeah.
It's not clear what the facility.
Sure, okay.
3 weeks, March the 19th. 3 weeks, it's what you told me.
What do the residents, when you make that,
Wait, Ron.
wait, can I ask a question to follow up to him?
Yes.
When the switch is made, what do residents expect for the 3 weeks with their water? Will there be any issues, or, because I know we send it out and we had questions last year, so on his question, what are the expectations we need to set for our residents during that 3-week period?
Right, we did put out an article in the connection which you received in your water bill. You are going to see a minor change in the water, going from hard surface water to a soft groundwater. You know, you get the slick feeling. You could have some taste and odor changes because going from a chloramine system, which is ammonia chlorine combination, to just a chlorine disinfection, you're going to have a little bit of taste and odor. But the staff will work vigorously to get the chloramine flushed out quickly, so the chlorine, the free chlorine, can do what it needs to do, and then reintroduce the chloramine system back in and flush out the free system. And it's going to take 3 weeks.
And it's every year, is that what you're saying?
It's going to be every year. The Texas heat just causes a bloom of bacteria, and you got to do it. Almost every municipality does it in the state, and
I think
probably
there
the
was a
nation.
question.
Yeah.
Yes, sir.
Yes, he was right here.
We're in Highland Village Elementary. You stated, of course, LISD says for sale. Would the city of Highland Village have interest in acquiring it?
Absolutely not. I'm just kidding. I'm kidding. We don't, I don't know that there's a need. We haven't seen a need. I don't see a need for it, and I don't know that we've got the money to be able to purchase that.
Opportunity here, but also then managing the zoning for that property, when that comes up for sale.
Right.
The property is actually split. Part of it's Highland Village and part of it's Louisville.
I think it's all in Highland Village. I think.
I'm not,
99% certain that is.
okay.
Well, the bottom part by Louisville is in the floodplain, and back in the 80s, they did take out homes, so that portion can't even be developed because it was used through FEMA to buy them out. And it's zoned single family already.
Yeah, it's zoned single family on the Louisville side of the line, and there's 3 lots there, and on the other side is Highland Village, and the floodplain separates the two.
There's a floodway that runs between it, but on our zoning map, it is SF 10, 12. It's single family zoned. But with that floodway, we call it candy cane, which means you can't touch it. Like FEMA won't let you enclose it, you can't touch it. So it'll be very strategic on if somebody can develop it to more than just single family.
But I would love to hear what your thoughts on what could go there. Even though it's not ours, it's not for the city.
There's choices that could go there.
Yeah.
The building's was built back in the 70s, I believe.
1981.
So I went and spoke to at the meeting that they held, and voiced as the mayor my I didn't approve of that and asked them to postpone that decision. But again, we don't own it. That was their decision, and we don't have any say in that.
Yeah. So you're saying the Highland Village side of it is zoned?
SF12.
Yes.
Okay, for single family.
Single family, 12,000 square foot minimum size lots.
It's just like what's surrounding it, the houses
No, the third acres there.
the houses around.
They're third acres.
Are they? 12,000.
That's 12 to 18.
Oh,
Is that 15?
I never was. I hate math. Okay.
It's concerned to be some other business, you know, like a professional business versus, not professional, but
And my point to,
for-profit, I mean,
yeah,
school versus.
my point to that was that the trustees, when they held that meeting, was that it just doesn't make sense because it's not on a through street for any type of business. So I don't know what they're going to do. I'm hoping they change their mind.
I don't want a 7-Eleven, and I don't want a apartment complex.
They would have to rezone for that. The only things that you don't have to rezone for are churches and schools. So maybe there's a church.
So, okay. Absolutely. And I just, when I said no, I just meant the tax money, the money that we would have to have, we're very frugal in Highland Village.
Would there be a
Yeah.
possibility for like a library or a bigger senior center or anything like a community center?
Well, we have a senior center at the Duval Center now, so, and a library, I don't know, is there a need for a library? Yeah, where's the money? Goes back to the money. Yeah, there's money. One more, and then we're going to move on to, we have police.
When we go into water conservation in May, June, start the water conservation, and citizens have to abide by that. But what about the city? I mean, I go down streets and the parks, water, 3 o'clock in the afternoon. Is that not?
That is seen, and it is addressed to the best we can. But yes, we try to police ourselves the best we can, but
Get that Eye on Highland
Village app.
Report it.
snap a picture and send it to me.
That's the best app ever, guys. I'm telling you, it's the best app ever. Okay, anybody else? Thanks, Scott. Oh, and we have police now.
Well, I hope you all can figure it out that I'm the police chief in uniform here tonight. So I've been married, a little bit about myself. I'm married 20 years to my wife, 10 years to Highland Village, and over 40 years to the policing realm. So the hardest challenge tonight was to, Paul might have misled us. He said I could only do 4 slides, and I made it to 8, but all these other guys had friggin' 12. So we'll try and get through this pretty quick. Our police department's based off Sir Robert Peel's principles. The primary one, that the police are the public and the public are the police, meaning we police your city with your consent. So just about everything that we do is based on those principles, how we investigate things, how we handle citizen complaints. And Sir Robert Peel is considered the father of policing back in the early 1800s. His principles have solely dominated successful cities and police departments. By the way, this year, our police department turns 50 on July 8th of 1975. So pretty amazing accomplishment. This is our organizational chart. Roughly within the city, I have 45-ish full-time employees, a couple part-time employees, not listed. The responsibilities primarily on the left-hand side of the chart are patrol. There's 23 people assigned to that realm. I have 3 people in our criminal investigations division. I have 2 SROs. I have 1 animal control officer. I have a dispatch center made up of 8 people plus a dispatch supervisor, 2 records people, and not showing up there, which I definitely want to make acknowledgement to, are my auxiliaries. They're not paid in any capacity. Their strength has grown to about 15, 18 in their strength now. And you see them in the bright yellow stuff that help us out in most of our events and these public events also. They're citizens here who do this voluntarily. And I thank you so much for your service and time. Biggest question I get asked is why we have so many cars. So I throw this up here to sort of show you. We don't, I asked this breaks down our entire fleet. I told you roughly have about 45 people in some capacity that are working for me at any given time. On patrol, I have 24 people that somehow need to be in vehicles. If you want to run the math in your head at homes, and I ask the question often, how many people are in your house? How many cars do you have? Usually 1 per person, right? We're about 2 people per car. That's the way it works into. I augment those resources with bikes, with a mule, with our auxiliary, and with our new trikes. So we try to keep our service cost on vehicles, because it is a major cost, at the lowest possible expense that we can. I have to account for vehicles not running 24 hours, because if they run 24 hours, they're of no good. We have shift change at any time. We could have 12 people in vehicles at the same time. Major events take most of our vehicles up, and we have scheduled maintenance or unscheduled maintenance that have to account for any one of those vehicles at any point in time going down. Everybody wants to know what we cost. This is what we cost. Personnel is obviously the biggest cost. You can look at that over the last 3 years. Our services and supplies is pretty consistent. We don't have a lot of capital expenses anymore, meaning we don't buy a lot of equipment. We don't buy a lot of, we have to replace guns and things like that. Those are our biggest expenses, but nothing that's that outrageous. Our technology, everybody has body cams. This department's had body cams since probably just before 2010. Our cars all are equipped with cameras also that are also license plate readers. They have cameras in the back seats. They have cameras in the front watching everything, and mics on everything also. The trikes are an amazing new technology that have brought into our fleet of vehicles, so to speak, and our resources to help patrol the 32 miles of park trails, and primarily at the schools also with the kids, and our new I call it the scooter ordinance. It's the vehicle one. Phil, what is that? Micro-mobility ordinance. So thank you. We have the ability
brought a trike for all. They're so cool. We should have had show and tell.
They are real cool things. Yes, but we can monitor 911 calls live in our police cars. That's unique technology that came out a couple years ago. We jumped on that. Our cell phones in the cars are multi-facet computers. They do everything from writing tickets to being able to talk to dispatch. Our Skywatch tower is aging and probably going to not be replaced when it goes out. And we're one of the few agencies still who has a live scan fingerprints, meaning if we bring somebody in and they fail to, if they tell us who they are or they refuse to identify, if they've ever been captured in a fingerprinting system, we know who they are within seconds. So. Biggest thing that we do for the community under Sir Robert Peel's principles, we provide a lot of community services. Our SROs right now in the school system, those are how many students they deal with. Unfortunately, we will lose that one school. We won't. I'm not anticipating losing a school resource officer, as they're still funded by the school, partially funded by LISD and the city. And we definitely have the need to keep those resource officers in the school. They are the groundwork, the foundation for your kids. If you've ever dealt with one of those two, specifically Harney, more than likely, your kids have grown up with a lot of his values, I'm sure. Everything else in there, just about anything that you can imagine, we will help you in any capacity.
What are Ghost Squad deployments?
You
have it up
I do, son of a gun. So we deploy one of those 20 vehicles that I talked about earlier, the marked vehicles. We deploy them throughout the city when I don't have the staffing levels, or if we get complaints in areas of the city that need to be addressed for speed. The biggest deterrent to criminal activity or any non-compliant behavior is visibility by the police department. So those vehicles are parked in various conspicuous positions, mainly to get people to slow down and take heed that the police are close. This program was implemented in 2017. It augments our fire department's response for medical response. It's a very basic certification. However, I'm very, very proud of this process because our police respond to every medical emergency in the city. They always did it before this. However, now they're certified not by the federal government, they're certified by the state, and then they're certified by our fire department under our local representation from the medical directors' edicts.
So we constantly are working on that. As new people come in, it's a long program to get them through, but once they're up and running, what it does really is when a police officer shows up, it's supposed to give them confidence, A, to help out with the medical response, but also help calm the person who's going through that distress at that moment. Because if you've ever had to call for medical response, waiting for someone to get there is the longest and hardest thing to deal with. And my folks are mobile most often, so I don't have the numbers to say who gets there first. I'm not really concerned about that. We'll just give you another option or another level of care in this city that says we're community servants. Love putting Ollie up there because I didn't say the 4 things that we value in the police department are treating everybody with respect and fairness, excelling in your profession, training up, and the last one is having fun. Ollie brings a lot of fun to our department. He brings a lot of fun to the community. He's a big stress relief for not only the police department side, but I run him down to the city side fairly regular. And if you ever see him, he's almost as big as I am because he eats treats everywhere he goes. But he is a blast. And that was a luck find for us through one of our council members, Councilmember Farenza, and a contact to get him here. And he lives in Dispatch, but we take him to city events regularly just to people have him light up and bring us in a little bit closer to talk to us and engage instead of merely standing off in the corners.
All right. Questions for Chief?
Can I just make a comment?
Sure.
One of the things that I have to tell you I'm really happy about is there's a phone number that one can call if they have a problem. For example, we had a problem with a tree coming down on 2499. I made a call, and there was somebody there in less than 30 minutes to get that tree out of the street so that people could actually get to and from. So the reason I bring this up is, if you have a problem, and the chief will give you the number to call, and basically you get somebody there that knows what it is you're asking about and will take care of it so that basically you don't have to worry about it. And I'm not talking about big time calls, I'm talking about things like a tree falling down in the street and having to be taken care of.
Thanks, Fred. That number's 911, by the way. So I say it that way in our city. The biggest call for service is 911 calls. Not that they're necessarily emergency calls, they're accidental calls. However, because of the lower volume of actual emergency calls when people say, I don't want to call the police, we have the ability to answer 911. So if you got I don't want you to search on your phone for a tree down in the street is a big deal, by the way. So I don't mind, and my dispatch center won't mind those calls either.
So
That's the reason I brought it up, because
Thanks.
is that the non-emergency number you're talking about, the 6551?
Correct.
I use that one all the time.
You can. You can
And
use
your
either.
officers were phenomenal when my dog and our foster dogs had a jailbreak, just to let you know. Thank you. We found them, by the way.
Good.
But that's a great number. It's been around forever. It's 972-317-6551.
and I'm telling you, if you got something in front of you, 911 is on the call.
Historically, the city has answered all the calls for all the other departments that aren't working. So we take all of those calls outside of normal hours, 365 days a year.
Y'all do a great job.
Thank you.
Yeah, you do.
Thank you. We try.
Anybody else have any questions?
Yes, ma'am.
I have a question about golf carts. So I've just recently had a lot of instances where I'm driving, there's a golf cart in front of me, and I know that we have told people you need to pull off to the side if the car's coming behind you. And I'm patient and I let them do their thing. But I've seen situations where kids aren't strapped in properly, people under the age of 18, they're under 18, are driving them. What are we doing to kind of reinforce the ordinances around golf carts?
We haven't in a while. We need to actually update that ordinance with some other things, but when we typically address ordinance updates or changes or new ordinances, we do an educational process to re-educate folks. So I think people are just coming on board and not knowing some of those protocols and courtesies, and safety measures. The licensing, for example, it's not 18, it's a driver's license. So it could be 16, it could be 15 and a half. I don't think 15 and a half, you have a legitimate license, but even if you're 20, you really shouldn't be driving if you don't have a license. So there's just, we on our website, I want to get back, taking back these, any of the questions or comments, we can we start those educational processes again with, hey, remember, here's where we're at, please draw your attention to, and then right on our website, we have some highlights for both the micromobility ordinance, micromobility now carries the golf cart under it. So we can highlight some of those things in there and.
That's great. I mean, I love the options that our citizens have to be able to use golf cart, but I just worry about safety. I mean, cars are bigger.
I would encourage putting something out maybe quarterly through social media and the water bill, because I hear about it all the time. So I'd rather educate.
And it also, I have encouraged and will continue to encourage, you got to call us. Even if you took a picture of it and send it to us on that ION app, it might be over, but if I get 10 of these complaints or a couple of them at any given point in time, we know where to go. We have a better idea to say where can we focus or what can we do to help address the problem. But if you don't tell us, I can't read minds.
I understand, but when officers are saying these things happen, because I mean, golf carts are everywhere, are they stopping and educating? Because I know that's one of the first things we do. Our officers educate, so are we doing that? I mean, we're not.
Maybe not enough.
We're not.
Maybe not
tickets,
enough.
Right?
Sounds like not maybe enough, but.
Okay.
But again, we'll address it.
Dottie?
I have a question on the skateboards. I see kids all the time.
Scooters, skateboards or scooters?
Or whatever those things are, scooters, yeah. And they never have helmets on hardly. And I don't understand that. Why isn't that an ordinance?
It is. I can address that.
Why aren't they ever stopped?
Well,
I see them every day.
We worked on a very aggressive ordinance to address the micromobility, all the different means or modes of transportation in the city at the time. And then we kicked out a highly aggressive, I call it, an educational program in the schools. So during that time frame, we did that, and now in order to target scooters, for example, on the where you're seeing them riding, a police car is not the best tool to do that. I can't put a car up on the trails. So I really need the bikes and or the trikes to get out there and do that. I still need people who are trained to ride them. I need the people available to do those things. Our heaviest enforcement time will be here in the spring break and summer. But during the school months here, it does slow down because of the weather. We don't see very many of them, not as many, let's change that, not as many of them out there. And also I had some staffing levels issues with one of my SROs out with some major issues.
Because if they fall off of them, it'll really hurt them back.
Oh, it does. And
You might want to stress the importance of parents being involved in the process.
well, we encourage parents to be involved in everything from crime prevention to safety. It's both, so.
Okay, thanks, Chief. I think we got the fire, oh.
I don't know if it's so much a question or a comment. I mean, the events that happened last week was pretty scary. The guns and drugs spraying our background was supposed to be very, very safe.
I was going to make a comment that I tried to live in Highland Village 2 times, but the crime rate was too high, but I didn't want to go down that path. So that's one incident. I mean, I don't know where you're going with the question, but I can't release any more information than was already put out because it's an active investigation, so it stays at that level. It is an isolated event. The last time a drug-related, so to speak, investigation happened of this nature was almost 10 years ago in the city. And it was isolated to people who knew each other and, just different. We don't have it happening every day. Again, I say we police with your consent. The public are the police are the public. If you see something, you call us. And I'd rather have 4 of my guys get there or gals get there to investigate and it not be anything than waiting for 2 hours after and it was a major criminal incident that should have had some attention. So,
Jean, did you have a question?
Yes, Chief, does the city monitor the license plates of people coming in to Highland Village, and do they monitor the access through the trails, like off the Garden Bridge and the bridge across coming to the park and all of the sidewalks coming
Let's start with first the license plates, okay? To monitoring, we have license plate readers throughout the city in strategic locations. That can be moved based on traffic or crime incidents, or if we just want to move them around, we can do that. For monitoring purposes, they're live all the time, and I wouldn't know, we don't have somebody monitoring it. They're live. If there's an incident that needs to be reviewed, we can go back and check a known license plate or looker and use those things to investigate. Or there's license plates entered into that system that can give us notice that a vehicle needs to be stopped or whatever. So one issue, the trail systems, only if we have people out there for special assignments or need to be on the trail systems. But to monitor the trails and the entrances and the exits every day. That's an answer for parks, for what cameras they have.
We do have a camera. Yeah, it's like the chief said, it's not monitored 24/7.
Okay. All right. Thanks, Chief.
Thank you.
And now everybody's favorite.
I was passing it off. How are y'all doing? Scott Green, I'm your fire chief. It's an honor and privilege to serve as that capacity. I've been with the city for about 4 months, so there's a lot that I'm still learning. But what I do know is the personnel that we have are incredible. Our motto is making a difference. The thing I love about that is it's so vague, because a lot of times the way we make a difference is how we apply it, right? It's not always a house fire. It's not always a huge wreck. It's our day-to-day interactions with citizens at the grocery store, at schools. It's how we assist an elderly resident when they've called just for a lift assist. So I love that vagueness with that. So within the fire department, we've got 21 personnel that are on shift, 7 on each shift. And then we've got 3 that are in admin. We've got several part-time, including fire inspectors. And then we also supplement a few of our on duty with some part-time firefighter paramedics from other departments. Our frontline apparatus, we staff a 3-person engine, a 2-person MICU, and a 2-person brush. That's when we have all 7 there. What that allows us to do with the 2-person brush truck is we can shift those personnel over to the MICU when we have 7 if we have a second EMS emergency come in. And then we've got a great partnership with our surrounding agencies. Louisville Fire Department, Flower Mound, and Lake Cities are incredible partners and neighbors. Call-wise, from 2019 to 2024, we're starting to see increases, going from 1283 in 2020 to 1753 this last year. We're primarily EMS. We run about 60% EMS and about 40% fire. And then down at the bottom is our mutual aid given and received. And so with that increased staffing model that I was describing with 7 personnel, we've been able to shift from needing as much mutual aid to being able to give out actually a little bit more than what we've received. Some of the things that we've been able to do with the department is through the Texas Fire Chiefs Association. We are a best practices recognized department, and that's 12 chapters of standards that cover everything from how you handle the department administratively to how we respond and do fire prevention, and that's outside assessors from other chiefs from all across the state that come in and view that. We're also a heart safe community with the Regional Advisory Council. a huge thing that we have, if you don't know, next Monday, our regional training center is opening. And for a city this size, a department this size, to go in a partnership with Louisville Fire Department and Flower Mound is incredible. It's a state-of-the-art facility that's going to allow our personnel to do live fire evolutions, and a lot of the evolutions we do on the fire ground, but also it strengthens our partnership with especially Flower Mound and Louisville Fire Departments. We've already arranged to work through training evolutions with both departments, all three departments at the same time, which is incredible to be able to do. And so thank you, council, and for getting that passed. I had nothing to do with that. I walked into it, so it was a great thing. Some of the things that we have on order, just to keep our apparatus up to date, is we've got a new brush truck coming in June. We're working through the process of getting 2 new MICUs, and then also a Kubota that we use for off-road firefighting, for shoreline, trails, all of that. Some of our objectives that we're continuously working on is always looking for efficiencies to provide exceptional care and services. Again, reducing that mutual aid reliance so that we can be more of a partner to our great agencies that have been there for us. We're working on long-term sustainability, and what I'm talking about there is how we do things, keeping our personnel, training our personnel to where we make sure we have our next drivers, our next captains, our next chief, from in-house. There's no reason why we can't do that. And we're doing that through building our culture, succession planning, empowering our officers to be officers and make decisions, and being intentional with our actions, with our training. We're working through some different options to improve scene safety with Flower Mound and Louisville, primarily through radio communications. And then also analyzing the training that we're doing to make sure that we're not doing it just for compliance, but we're also identifying what we have identified that we need to improve, to provide better services. And again, with the new training center, we're going to be increasing our training with our mutual aid partners. And we're also, through that, working with their training departments to try to align the Highland Village policies with both Flower Mound, Louisville, and Lake Cities, to where it's more seamless. In the next budget cycle, I'll be bringing forward some different firefighter safety and wellness initiatives, again, to take care of our personnel, and then also to improve our fire prevention division. We've got 2 part-time inspectors, but to make sure that our community, our business community, is safe. We don't want a loss from a business. We want that sales tax coming in, and we want a safe environment for everyone visiting those places. And that's, any questions?
Make any questions for the fire department?
They do a great job.
They do a great job, you're exactly
Thank you.
right. So this is the exciting one.
Yes, maybe not because it's the finance department, because I'm last.
Well, I was going to say that. And on top of that, Ken, before you start, I would just like to say Ken has been here 34 years, and he's retiring. So I know. So when we were talking about money, this is the man you want to talk to before he goes, right here. He holds the checkbook like this. And I learned early on when I got on council that he has a 5-year plan. He knows everything about the finance. So and you're going to get a briefing on this, but he's leaving us at the end of this month. I know. And yeah, absolutely. But anyway, okay.
Thank you for
So, yeah, really. Well, I don't know.
Could be both.
In the beginning, when I first got on, it was like, oh my goodness. But yeah, I've learned so much from him, and he is so frugal, and we are so fortunate to have had you this long. So, take it away. This is my favorite subject.
Yeah, finance department, typically, our primary goal is to stay out of the news, because anytime we're in the news, it's not a good deal. So
Exactly right.
we've mostly accomplished that. So,
Orange jumpsuits
you know,
all around.
we do a lot of things you would expect. You know, we have our general accounting. We have two. We do a financial report. We get audited every year, and that's a big involved process. So you can be assured that everything we do is scrutinized. And we handle public money, so we are very particular with how we account for that. We have payroll, that's very popular with our employees. Accounts payable, that's another thing that's very scrutinized. This is the one thing that will get us in the news quicker than anything else. And we use purchase order system, we have approval process, we have checks and balances with that. Purchasing cards, those are particularly ripe for abuse, and you see that in the news here and there. And from the very start, we set up very detailed process where every department head will review every transaction with our approved limits. We have controls on where they can purchase things. They see everyone, approve everyone, so it meets several layers of approval before we even get it and approve it. So we've fared very well with that, and that's worked real well for our departments, actually, being able to just go out and get the things they need. Treasury management, we get a lot of tax money at this first part of the year, so we want to invest that rather till we have to use it and get every bit of interest that we can. We're limited in what we can invest it in, but that's to everybody's benefit. That keeps it protected for the most part. Utility billing, this and the next one, court, probably are not our most popular things when you get your utility bills or you come in to pay your tickets, but we manage that process and really keeps the utility billing system or the utility water sewer delivery going. That's what we use to fund it. And then budgets are a big thing that we do every year, and this is really where everything, all the departments that you heard before, this all comes together, that we set our priorities every year and work with the funding that we have to keep these services going. So we have 8 people in our department, and with this, we have dual checks and balances with that to make sure everything's accounted for, and we do a lot with this group, and I have a great group to work with, and I'm blessed. So tonight we're going to give you just a little accounting overview, a little lesson, governmental accounting, just so you really kind of get a feel for what we do. And you can think of, our graphics not working well, what we do is basically having pots of money. So general fund is our big pot that by default, everything, the monies come into there, we spend our monies out of there, and whatever's left is basically our fund balance. So it kind of operates, just think of it like a checkbook. So we have debt service. Debt service accounts for, we issue bonds that our public works talked about, funding streets and big ticket items that we do, parks, and we pay those back. And so we have debt service that, like your house payments every year, we have that, a schedule every year, and that is set aside, and that's kind of a component of our tax rate, which we'll cover in just a second. Then capital projects, when we do issue the bonds, we have a separate place we account for all those funds to make sure they are spent according to their purposes, and so that is kind of segregated with that. And then our enterprise fund, which will be our utility fund, the utility billing, the rates we set for our utility usage is what we use to fund our system. So it's self-supporting. Their rates are developed to really give us the revenues we need to just maintain our system. And so solely for that purpose. And then we have special revenue funds, and they have a specific purpose that it's a legal restriction or something we are required to separate. Technology fees, part of our citations have specific uses for them. Park development fees, we charge developers for new developments. So those are all segregated. So again, this is all for the purpose of being transparent and have a very logical, consistent. Every city has the same sort of setup in Texas. And so it makes it easy to see and account for things. So as I mentioned, the budget process, This is the most probably important thing we do between council and staff, and we gather input from public and our boards. We get input anywhere we can. And we have department heads, and you've heard that all of them have visions for what they want to do, and they have big ideas, and they hear things from people, and they kind of get their plans and start putting them together. So every year we start a process. We look at our capital projects. We kind of start there because that's what we're going to have to issue debt for. And then we look at other things that, behind the scene things, that's salary adjustments. HR looks at other cities and surveys. We have to remain competitive. We want to make sure we're in line with other folks. And trends there, health insurance, things for our employees. And so all this is kind of put together, and we have this software that they input into, and everything is entered by line item. And we go through that with a budget team, city manager, myself, department head, and we go through every line item. And every line item scrutinized, where our starting place is what we used for last year, but if we look at a trend over the last several years and they really haven't needed that, we will reduce it, because we want to make sure we have the best appropriate use in total for who needs it. And then we have like an allocation for a year. They have no obligation, they're not really encouraged to spend it, because if for some reason they didn't need it or it carries over, we account for that. So we look at every way possible to gain the trust of the departments to where they're going to put in there just what they need, knowing that we're going to see it that way. And it's not like, well, we have to spend our budget every year or we're not going to get it next year. There's none of that. Everyone is looked at. Some of them go up and they go down. Some of them are expenditures that come every so often. And then when they aren't needed anymore, they go away. So that's the process. We go through all that and kind of compile all that to a budget that then we have a big picture in a program that we start presenting to council throughout the summer. We try to not do it all in one meeting because it's just too much. So we give them a little bite at a time. And so we go through that. And then through that process, we have a public hearing. And then there are 2 reads of an ordinance to pass a new budget for each year. And then we assemble documents. We put it on our website. Financial reports as well as the budget are all on the website. We want to be as transparent as possible. And so that's a very big, important process we go through. So what that accumulates into is the taxes, property taxes you pay every year. And so that's a big part of our revenue. We get it from other sources too. So looking at our budget for this current year, we have a $23 million revenue budget we anticipate. But if you look at there's 3 things that comprise 90% of that budget amount. Property tax is the biggest, 64%. Sales tax, 18%, and franchise fees, that's what we charge the utilities for use of our right-of-way, for the electric, gas, and those fees are pretty steady, pretty consistent. But the property tax is the big component, which as a small city without a big commercial retail base, ours is going to be higher than most any around us. And that's a good thing and a bad thing. The bad thing is that it puts more burden on our property tax. The good thing is that it gives us steady revenues because it's not going to fluctuate a whole lot. But when we're looking down the road trying to figure out where we're going to get money from, well, 90% of it's coming from 3 things. And so that's just something we have to be mindful of. On the expenditure side, what this money provides us to do is those programs that we were just looking at. If we look at it by function, public safety accounts for just under half of our budget, police and fire. Public works, parks account for another 35%, and then the rest would be administration. So you can see how that's allocated. And then if we look by the category, what really stands out there is personnel is 67% of our budget. So we're a service organization. It's like we're not going to get technology to patrol our streets, to fix our streets, to go pick up trash in the park. And so we need people to do that. And so that's, again, a good thing because the service, and we want to provide that. But when we were looking at long-term, there's no, as far as controlling cost, personnel is going to go up pretty predictably over time. And it's like we need the people, so we don't have as much leeway to look for efficiencies. We look at them where we can, but, a lot of it's going to be constrained. So like I said, in that bucket, what we have left over at the end of the day is our fund balance. We're in great shape right now. We're at 9.2 million is what we're expecting. That we look at that in terms of that balance in terms of the percent of our expenditures. Our benchmark used to be 15%, but standards have kind of upgraded to where now we look at a benchmark of 20 to 25%, especially because we'll have a little bit higher percentage of sales tax, and that can be volatile. So you can see we're above that, and that's well positioned because as we transition to build out, we're going to be challenged. Revenues are going to flatten, and our expenditures, and especially since the pandemic, have been anything but flat. And so looking down the road, we're going to have some challenges for us to meet. We're going to either have to increase revenues, decrease expenditures, or some combination of the two to keep going, but at least we're in a good place at this point in time going into that. So from that, we come our tax rate. So just to try to give you a little brief explanation of how that works. Our tax rate now is 50 cents per $100 of valuation. And so it's made up of two components. M&O, that's basically your maintenance and operations, and INS, debt service. And that, again, I mentioned the debt that from our bonds that we issue. That is basically what that's from. And so the way that's calculated is, we have a debt schedule every year. And the blue is what we have existing right at this point in time. But we're always looking down the road for five-year windows of when are we going to have debt that comes off, and then have opportunities where, because every 4 or 5 years, we're going to have to issue debt for street reconstruction, park improvements. We have lots of infrastructure that we have to maintain, and those cost too much to really fund in our operations. So you can see we plan that out over the years, and then we look at a kind of a benchmark. If you look at the percent, that equates to 7 cents of the 50 cents. That represents 15% of our tax rate. That's kind of what we have set as our goal and standard. We kind of tried to maintain with that. 20 years ago, when we were in a growth mode, that was more like 25%. And so as we reach build out, somewhere around there, I would say 13 to 15% will be our sweet spot, and that's kind of what we'll look at. So anything that's not INS, the remainder of the tax rate would be used for M&O. And so our starting place every year is the current tax rate. And so if you compare us to our other cities, we're going to be a little bit in the high end. And I'm sure you all know that because you'll talk to, look at Louisville, and they're going to have a lower rate. But if you look at the percentage of their budget that's property tax, it's considerably lower because they have commercial, they have retail, they have other funding sources. So it makes it hard to compare. So, and we have a high service level as well. So we have to be mindful of that. We want to be kind of in range with the other cities in comparison, but we're never going to be the lowest. We just don't want to be way above everybody else. So as we're looking from year to year, again, our starting place is where, okay, here's our current tax rate. And I say probably for about 15 to 20 years, our goal was to maintain the same tax rate, and we did. But in the last several years, Texas legislature has made that a lot harder for us, and they've kind of established some limits. And so, the last 3 years, we've actually had a tax decrease. And we're kind of forced to do that because there's a threshold on this M&O portion. The INS, whatever debt, you're going to be able to collect that to pay for your debt. And so, but the other part, the M&O, is limited. And so, in essence, it's like the levy that we had from the previous year, 3.5% increase from that for this year is our limit. So if our tax roll, our valuation in the last several years have been like 7-8%, the increases. Well, if we have more money, more valuation increase, and it exceeds 3.5%, we're going to have to reduce the tax rate to get within that limit. And that's what we've done, like say, again, the last 3 years. So as a homeowner, you say, well, that's great, and it is good, but as a city, that's a challenge for us because we'll have some years where we'll actually have a decrease in valuation. And technically, okay, then we could increase the tax rate based on what they allow for us. But then council is going to probably get hammered if they increase the tax rate for any reason. And so we leave it the same, and so it'll gradually make the tax rate go down. So that'll be our challenge as we go forward, but that's just a little simple. There's a lot more nuance to all this, but that's kind of the brief overview of what the tax rate is. Hopefully I've not just thoroughly confused everybody with that, but we talked about the general fund. We also have all these other funds, and so general fund's just under $25 million budget. In total, it's $57 million. And you can see the graphic over there. Utility general fund comprises a good bit of that. Capital projects is our current bonds outstanding. So there's a lot we do here, and it takes a little bit of money to make it work. But when you look at what you pay in property tax, and you basically divide that on a daily basis, it's the equivalent of a couple cups, a couple Starbucks a day. And you get police protection, fire protection, streets to drive on, you turn your faucet on, you get water, a lot of good things happen. And so, again, we try to keep this going behind the scenes and let the field departments do their jobs and make everything good for you. And I hope we measure up.
Anybody have any questions?
I have one. Well, so can you let our citizens know if they order online, do we get the sales tax?
Yes.
If you order with your unhealthy relationship with Mr. Prime like me or Walmart Plus, if you order online, the sales tax you pay for your online order goes to our sales tax. So even if you're behind your computer getting a new pair of shoes, it goes to our sales tax and we get the money.
Yeah.
Is that, sorry,
No,
is
go
that
ahead.
based on the location that it's being sent to for the address, or is
Yes.
that based on net traffic?
No,
It's your address.
It's a location, destination.
So click away, people. Click, click, click away.
Feel free to go to our local stores too. So-
Yes, that too.
Shop
but
local.
Yeah, shop local. But I didn't know that until I got on council, that every time I order Amazon for, the poster board or the crayons we need, it contributes to our sales tax.
Does it matter if it has, because sometimes it will change it to Louisville, does that matter at all?
Louisville, basically that's where our post office
Yeah.
is, and so it's based on zip code, so it should come here.
It's still a little bit, yeah, because sometimes it automatically changes.
Well, some of Louisville 750.
There is a little bit of Louisville that is, and so
So
that.
how do they do that?
Well, it's based on the business. Well, actually, if you order it online, it's based on the address, and so that you can easily match that up in city limits with the address. But when you get into businesses, sometimes it may be listed incorrectly, so those get looked at.
I get stuff all the time.
Occasionally, we'll find
to
some
my
that were done wrong.
address, but it says Louisville, Amazon.
Yeah, and that's more from the post office. That doesn't necessarily reflect
It's
the
the
sales
zip
tax.
code. Crosses it.
Yeah, but there's 5 zip code, and then there's 4.
Right.
They can
Yeah.
see the 4 even though it's not on your envelope.
That's right.
Yeah.
So it breaks it all the way down. There's actually 9 digits in your zip code.
Oh, they use the 9 digits?
Yes.
Yeah.
Anybody else? So hopefully, thank you, Ken, hopefully, this was informative, and that was what the intent was, for our residents to see everything that our city does. And I think I would hope that you would agree with me that we have an incredible city, we have an incredible staff, and all of our employees are amazing. I mean, do we do everything perfect? No, we don't. But I think that they are open to comments, to suggestions. That one suggestion, I think he left, about leaving the splash pad open longer. No, I think that's a great suggestion. So anyway, I hope that it was informative, that was and helpful. You know that you can reach out to anybody on council and any of our staff. Everybody is available here because, you know, it's almost like a family. I say that all the time. It is. We're a community, but we're like a family. So again, I really appreciate you coming. Now, we're going to open it for questions. I know that the intent was to roll through here and be done by 8 o'clock, and I'm really a stickler on time, but we had some great questions during the presentations, and I felt like that was important also. So if anybody has any questions, any comments, then now's when you're going to get to come up to the microphone here, and you can ask your questions. Or you can just stand up there and we'll bring the microphone to you. Does anybody have anything? Any comments? I would love feedback on this, because while yes, this was a lot of information in all of our departments, I would love to break it down and make it smaller. You know, we did a lot more with finance tonight because Ken's leaving us, and finance is huge. Everybody wants to know where our tax dollars going and what it's paid. I'm sorry?
Monthly coffees.
That is not going to happen at 8 o'clock on a Monday morning, Mr. Jaworski. Yeah. But thank you. But I'll do a happy hour any day. So.
Right here.
Yeah, I'm sorry.
I thought it was great to send somebody. It was a good beginning in terms of letting people know what's going on and what it's about. And I think helping people understand how we get to where we are and what we're doing is probably what you were trying to intention. And I said it was a good idea.
Awesome, thank you. So, and it's a start, absolutely. It's a start. And then if we have more, we can break it down to different departments and, you know, and let them be more, give more information. But really, that's what this was all about, was to bring the community together, see if there's any comments, any questions. And then, yes, Fred?
What about the completion of the trail system? Is there any monies that have been in places that basically have been decided for sure that we're going to take the trail system, or is that still a...
The completion of the trail system. Phil, where are you?
Taking the trail.
That's right, speaking of trails.
If I understood the question correctly, it's when are we going to finish the trail system?
Well, there's been a lot of discussion about where the trail system is going to go. And I just wondered what the latest is on where it's planned on going on the west side of town.
So we had this thing called a comprehensive master plan process that was happened in 2023 and was adopted. And during that process, the community was invited to come in and provide input on several things, and one of them was the trail system. We had open houses and discussions with council and park board and administrative offices and things like that. Well, from there, what the community did is they established a priority list that they would like to see. So that got adopted in 2023, and the priority list has specific areas that the community wanted us to focus on. So we're gonna focus on that priority list first and then expand from there. But we have a board, the Community Development Board, and we're starting those engagement meetings. We have one on the 20th, and I encourage you to come to that meeting, and anyone else that has any questions about trails. These boards are appointed by council. They're advisory boards, and at some point, we take the feedback from the community and we present it and bring it up to council, and they make the final decision, whether it's a priority list or if it's a new initiative. You know, that's the process, and, you know, I would invite you to come to those meetings and bring up those discussion points.
Well, I plan on it, but I thought maybe you may have come to some definition of how you're going to handle the west side of town.
Well, it goes back to the priority list that the community established for us, and then from there, we're moving forward with it.
Okay, anybody else? So I would just like to, and I didn't do this in the beginning, Mayor Jaworski is here. He went off in May. Was it just last May? So he's here. Fred Bushy served on council when I got on, and I had the opportunity to serve with him. And Bill Irwin was a council member. When I first got on many years ago. So, and I appreciate you guys staying involved, because that's what it's all about, is engagement and involvement. And there's several people in the audience that come to our council meetings, and we appreciate that. Council, does anybody else do we have any questions out there, comments? It's your chance. Okay. Council, over here, anybody have? Well, I
did a good
appreciate
job.
you guys being here tonight. I do. I know y'all were thrilled. I could see it on your faces when you walked in, how excited you were to be here. But so if you do have any questions, please don't hesitate to reach out to us. If you have any comments, we're open, and we'd take all of them. So thank y'all for coming. And we're almost 25 minutes late, and I'm sorry. I said 8 o'clock, but that's the way it is.